So it's been a while since I've had a chance to make a video on any of the projects. I got sick for a while, and then there was another big snow and, a lot of life things that just sort of happened. So it's been a minute, but today we're going to go ahead and dive into some more work on the rat rod project. I'm going to go ahead and cut the doors away from the body and start building some structure so that they can open and close on their own, and then after that maybe move on to some suspension mounts and building the framework for the floorboards. So let's go ahead and jump into some time lapses and see how much we can get done. So first off, what I went ahead and did is I cut the door skins away from the body of the car. And to do that, I had to come in here and add this post here and the one on the opposite side there. And the reason for that is that prior to cutting the door skins off, the only structure holding the body of the vehicle together was just the sheet metal that I had fabbed up from the outside. So I had to make a brace here going from the frame up to the roof on both sides before I could cut the door skins out. And once that was done, the next series of time lapses you see are me trimming and cutting and fitting all of these inner pieces for the door framework. So we've got the main piece across the top, the original metal frame of the door here, a new piece of metal across here, and one up here. And that's interrupted right here with the door latch, which you can bolt these in this case, I decided because it's a rat rod and I just want to keep things simple, I went ahead and welded those in place. Now, once I had the door completely fabricated and mocked up for this side, I went ahead and marked it for the striker, as well as repaired and made the hinges for it. And then I was able to close the door, tack weld it in place, and then line it up and weld the hinges in place. So now I have a fully functional door on this side, as well as on the driver's side of the vehicle. You can see this one also releases and latches. Now, right at this particular moment, I had to use a different set of hinges on this driver's side compared to the passenger side of the vehicle. And that was just because that's what I had lying around. These ones are a little bit stiff, so I've got some penetrating fluid on there to loosen them up, help soften up the pins. The other ones I kind of rebuilt fresh, so they're a little bit smoother. But you can see it continues to have all of the correct body lines and things open and close correctly, which is nice that everything held its shape. Now, the next stage is going to be building some structure on the interior here. I have to go from this beam back to the corner there, across the rear window, and then back up here to this beam to create structure. Because as you can see right now, things are sort of flimsy at the moment. So I have to reinforce all that structure with more steel, more tubing. And then it'll be a lot more structurally sound. The next series of time lapses I did show me building and installing the transmission crossmember. So I used a piece of rectangular tubing, and then as you can see here on the corner, I sliced it at an angle and boxed it, and then added a little mount point on the end of it on both sides. And then I used an original transmission mount and welded that to this. So this whole cross member comes out with the 3 bolts and the transmission mount here, here, and on the other side. And then the bolts here and over on that side over there. So now that completes the transmission cross member, which is nice because that takes away the blocks of wood that we were kind of supporting the engine transmission with, and allows us to continue the fabrication process forward. And then after the transmission crossmember, I was able to go ahead and fabricate and build the engine mounts. So that just utilizes a heavy wall chunk of rectangular tubing and a heavy metal plate piece that I had lying around that was originally part of the bracketry for the old front suspension. So I reused those parts and I created the engine mount for this side, as well as the engine mount for this side. Now that the engine and transmission are mounted in the frame rail, that completes the major drivetrain mounts. And the next step, now that we have the doors opening and closing, we can access the inside of the vehicle, and the engine transmission are all good. The next step is going to be building front and rear suspension. Now my plan is to go ahead and take some old leaf springs that I have off of, honestly, who knows what, and I want to chop them in half
and utilize one section, one side of them, as a quarter elliptical suspension for the front. And you can see underneath this particular spring, we've also got some cool old under the floor style pedals for clutch and brake. And I also have this gas pedal from something, not really sure what. So this set is eventually going to make the pedal set for the car as well. So the next time we make a video, we're probably going to go ahead and start diving into the suspension work and try to get this thing so it can roll on its own, which would be pretty cool because that's a really big milestone to reach, and it'll get us that much closer to creating a fully functional rat rod. But super cool to be able to get to the point where the doors open and close. Now I can sit inside the vehicle and really get a good feel for it. And I really like the suicide door aspect of it. I think that's going to look really cool and overall really unique. So pretty cool, starting to take a lot of good shape and really liking the direction it's going at this point.
So that's going to do it for this week on the Rat Rod project. Now that we have the doors opening and closing and all the structure for them is built, I can go ahead and finish out the structure on the inside of the cab of the vehicle. And with the engine transmission mounted in the frame, now I can move on to the really exciting part, putting this front and rear suspension together, which is going to be kind of a mental challenge because I want to do this quarter elliptical type suspension, partially because I have parts lying around that allow me to do that, but also just because it's kind of different looking, and a lot of people tend to go with, you know, 4-link suspension or coilovers and things like that. But I wanted to build something for this that's going to be really unique and different and kind of simple. So the next time we make a video, we're going to go ahead and dive into some suspension work. And until then, I hope you guys have a good one, and we'll see you next time.